Council for September 19th at 7:02 p.m. All council members are present with the exception of Councilmember Diane. Will you please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all very much. There you go. Thank you all very much. Before we get started, tonight's a very special night here. We have the folks from the Youth Commission who are joining us tonight. So we're making them go very last, so they have to sit through their first council meeting. So, guys, I've prepped the council. I've asked them to be as entertaining, tell lots of good stories for you. So we'll see how they did at the end. And council, they all have rating cards from 1 to 5. So we'll as you make your comments. So. But with that, our first item on the agenda is public comment. Public comment is an opportunity for town residents and other interested individuals to speak to items not on the agenda. So we'll give you 3 minutes to speak, and we have a sign-up sheet that we have beforehand if you signed up. Otherwise, come on up after the folks that have signed up and state your name and address, and we'll give you your 3 minutes. So first up is Kate Wilcox. And Ms. Wilcox, I've distributed to the council your...
I have included a flyer of my intersection near my neighborhood.
Yep. So if you'll state your name and address for the record, and then I'll start your clock, and you can see it at the top.
My name is Kate Wilcox. My address is 11520 Crow Hill Drive in Parker.
Great. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Kate Wilcox, and I am a resident of the Preston Hills neighborhood. I have a kindergartner and a third grader who attend Iron Horse Elementary School. I am here to ask for your help getting our children to their neighborhood schools safely. My primary concern is the intersection of Hilltop Road and Tallman Drive. Last Monday, September 12th, we were taking our walk to school as we do almost every day. My boys were smiling and joking with each other. We made our way to the corner of Tallman and Hilltop. We waited for the walk signal and walked directly toward one of our crossing guards who see us every day. 2 other families had joined us, one mom with a 5th grade son and another mom with a 2nd grade daughter. After crossing Hilltop, we waited for the crossing guard to help us cross against the next light to the sidewalk that leads to the school. The walk signal lit up and the crossing guard stepped out with her sign. My oldest son was a couple of steps ahead of me, walking with the 2nd grader. He was still in the crosswalk with his friend. The walk signal was on and the crossing guard was out. The mom in front of me suddenly started yelling, and a car came flying up the hill. My son wasn't hit, but the car stopped a few feet away. This happens multiple times in a week. Our admin and our school is trying everything they can do to help us. We have an SRO who is out there asking crossing guards what they can do to help us. And they're doing everything they can, but this intersection is still dangerous. We are now being asked not to cross in that crosswalk because it is too dangerous, and with an additional crossing guard, they can't keep us safe. So now it's unsafe. I am not an expert. I'm asking that town council ask for help and 4 separate things. Number 1, please consider adding a crosswalk on the northwest side of Tallman and Hilltop intersection. Please add more visibility to our crosswalks, lights, and added signs. Please consider no right turn on red signs. So many close calls are a result of people rolling through that red light and ignoring safety of everyone around them. And please consider expanding the school zones and fixing the signs on your papers. It will show that the signs are even past that crossing section. The crosswalk is not in those the school safety zones. So please extend the school safety zones, please.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Wilcox, sorry. Katrina Davis?
Hello, my name is Katrina Davis. I live at 11680 Crow Hill Drive in Parker, and I'm here for the same reason as our last speaker, that just to reiterate, something needs to be done at that crosswalk. Again, that crosswalk is our only path to get the kids to school, and it is not in the school safety zone, which makes no sense. It needs to be extended south so it covers that crossing walk with better light-up signs, something to notify drivers going down Hilltop that they can slow down and keep an eye out. Second main thing is we have to cross right now. So we come from the west side, go to the east, and then go north. So we have to do 2 crosswalks to go across that crosswalk. If the town could maybe do a crosswalk on the north side of the intersection, if you guys can picture it from those, it would save us a little bit of that gauntlet, and also have a clear path for drivers doing that right-hand turn to be able to see the kids. Right now, with traffic coming in and everyone stopped at the lights, you just can't see the kids walking across the street. I guess that's it. Just want to make sure it's out there and something that we could all look at together.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, and our town manager does have a copy of this, so we'll chat about that. Great. Thank you. Anyone else wishing to make public comment? All right, seeing none, we'll move on the agenda to reports, items, and comments from mayor and council. We will start to my left with Councilmember Hefta.
Okay. Good evening, Mayor and Town Council members and residents of Parker, Colorado. This past week, I went to a pre-candidate meeting for our upcoming election with some folks are running in this upcoming election, and spoke to some of the candidates about the requirements of being a town council member, which are on our website, by the way. There's a 2-page document on the Town of Parker website, which goes over all the duties and responsibilities of a town council member. It's very informative. I also attended the Parker Civics Academy, and that is a 16-week course?
9 weeks.
9-week course?
9.
And with fellow town council members, Josh Rivero, Cheryl Pogue, John Dyack, and myself and the mayor. And we enjoyed helping the Parker Civic Academy residents learn about that night, what was it like to be a town council member. I'd also like to thank Kate Wilcox and was it Katrina Davis for being brave and providing us a sign of the issues on Hilltop Road and Tallman Drive. It's because of residents like yourselves that problems can get solved. And I know that our Public Works is going to look into the matter along with PD to try to come up with a solution, because we are a very caring community. And we certainly don't want any of our children or adults hurt in any way. So by you coming here tonight and bringing this to our attention, I'm hoping that adequate solutions can meet the needs of our community. We have had a lot of folks speeding here and some crazy driving this past summer, and I have 2 small children myself. And I know that we can find a solution on this matter. So thank you for coming here tonight.
Councilmember Barrington.
So I was out sick last week, so I don't have a lot to report because I missed a lot of those events Councilmember Hefta was referring to. I did attend yesterday a fundraiser for human trafficking, and thank you for your public comment as well. Thanks.
Councilman Hendricks.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I believe you'll be addressing some of the items I've attended, so nothing else to report.
All right. Councilmember Pogue.
Yeah, I think that Councilmember Hefta has also listed all the things. I'm not going to repeat them. The only thing I will add is I did go to the induction ceremony for our new police officers. I am so proud of Parker of what we've done to attract new officers, because I know other communities are losing them. We support our officers in many, many ways, including increasing their insurance, because the state of Colorado and the legislature dropped their governmental immunity issues. And we now provide that to our officers, which I think is critical. If I were a police officer without that additional insurance, I wouldn't want to be a police officer. So we're getting some really good people in, and I'm really happy about that. So thank you.
Councilman Rivera.
Thank you. I too attended the Civic Academy. Great evening. For those of you interested in how your town operates, it is an immersive 9-week, 10-week course of just learn everything about this community, including a week spent on what this board does. So I think it's incredibly valuable. It's always a pleasure to see the amount of people in here. On a general comment, I too appreciate public comment. I know it can be incredibly frustrating because you come in and you give your all on a podium and we just sit up here and stare at you. And it just know that when you do give public comment, everybody that's in the room, everybody that should be in the room is in the room, including our deputy chief and our director of public works, and most importantly, our boss of bosses, town manager. They're hearing you too. We can't address and we can't offer dialogue to public comment because it's not on the agenda and it's not posted per se. So I just want to let you know that we do hear you, and everybody that needs to hear you has heard your comments. So citizens, I encourage you, continue with your public comment. It's how we get things done. It's how you petition your government. So well done.
Great, thank you. So I've got kind of a long list, and they punted to me to make sure I get their stuff, so I'll make sure I get in. So in the past 2 weeks, Councilman Rivera and I went to the groundbreaking of the extension of the Solomon Center, and that was phenomenal. It's at Jordan and Pine, and it's a nonprofit, huge. It reaches all across the world in what they do there. So, Councilman Rivera mentioned there that you don't realize how wide the stretch of Parker is until you look at an organization like that and where it really stretches. So appreciate you, Josh, coming to that with me. I had the opportunity to attend, I think it was the 3rd or 4th annual Parker Quest in downtown Parker. I had the chance to play James Parker as the character and talk about my life here in Parker as James Parker. And that was really, really fun. We also had one of the O'Brien daughters, so Charlie O'Brien's niece. So her grandfather would have been the one that built Ruth Chapel, the Heath House, and that. So she was actually there in person, not as a character, but in person. So, and the story that this lady told about how she'd ride her bike from what's now Walgreens all the way up to where the new gas station's going at Lincoln on a daily basis, because that's what you did. That's how you got around. We did have the opportunity to swear in 3 new police officers. I echo what Councilmember Pogue said. We are getting some of the finest, and to get into the Parker PD, you have to be the best of the best. There's no exception, and I think we got 3 really, really good ones here, and their laterals. Councilmember Hendricks and I went to the Big Toolbox 1-year anniversary, one of the biggest home improvement stores that we've got here, and I really appreciate Marley showing Todd and I around again after a year. But really all the stuff that they're doing out there and really how they've embraced Parker, it's phenomenal. And that's what we love to see, is that they've come, they're successful, and they're expanding out there. And then Councilmember Hendricks and I on Saturday, we were at the Legend versus Pondo Junior Varsity game. So if around 11:10 you heard some afterburners coming in, they actually had a flyover of 2 F-16s. One of the Pondo players, his dad is an F-16 pilot. So they had a flyover and then circled back with his afterburners. So what was amazing to me was every alarm in that parking lot went off with those afterburners. It was pretty incredible. So it's been a great busy week and more to come. So appreciate our council for everything they do outside of just this meeting, but it really was a great week. So with that, we will move on to the consent agenda. Consent agenda items are considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion and one vote. There will be no separate discussion for consent agenda items unless council votes to remove an item for an individual discussion. Ordinances on the consent agenda are for introduction only and will not be removed for any discussion. So council, you have items 4A through 4H
G.
for your review.
Oh, it was?
8.
Oh, you're right. Sorry. There it is.
Tell me again, Susan. H?
It's H.
Yeah.
Apologies.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve consent agenda items 4A through 4H, please.
I'll second.
Okay, motion is made by Councilman Rivero, second by Councilmember Pogue. Rivero?
Aye.
Pogue?
Aye.
Hendricks?
Yes.
Barrington?
Yes.
Hefta?
Yes.
And that passes 5-0 with John Dyak absent. Next up is the first of our public hearings. Okay. Chris and Carson. Carson, you're becoming an old hat around here, so it's awesome. All right, the first public hearing, I'll go ahead and open it at 7:17 p.m. This is an item on Chambers Road, north of Belford Avenue, right-of-way annexation. And I believe on this one, we have a resolution and an ordinance, and we're going to treat it all as one presentation and a couple of motions, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And for the audiences, this is a public hearing. So the way we go about this is first we have a staff presentation. The council then asks questions of our staff. Carson, I'm sure you have an applicant here to chat about it, or do you? Mr. Hudson will be acting in the form of the applicant. So we'll have a chance to ask any questions of him. We'll open it up for public comment, and then we'll end the public hearing. We'll bring it back to the council for any debate and finally a vote. So it's kind of the way we go. So Carson, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. All right. Good evening, Mayor and council members. The purpose of this presentation is to propose the Chambers Road, north of Belford Avenue, right-of-way annexation. The property is a portion of Chambers Road between Belford Avenue, currently under construction, to the south, and E470 eastbound ramps to the north. In 2016, the town approved the annexation and zoning of the Chambers High Point plan development that is adjacent to the strip of Chambers Road directly to the west. As part of the annexation and development agreements, the developer is required to pay for and install a traffic control signal at the Chambers Road and Belford Avenue intersection. Douglas County has requested that the town assume responsibility for the operation and maintenance of this new traffic signal, as it is our requirement. The town already maintains the existing traffic signals at the E470 interchange with Chambers Road traffic to the north. It is appropriate for the town to assume maintenance responsibility for the new traffic signal that is required by the town for the Chambers High Point annexation agreement. In addition to the signal, the annexation provides an option for town-owned continuity between Chambers High Point plan development by providing town-owned right-of-way access between the plan development and other town-owned right-of-way connections. Said continuity ensures better design and maintenance control for the town. The property has been identified as a candidate for future annexation through the annual 3-mile plan and the Parker 2035 master plan. Therefore, the proposed annexation is consistent with the town's land use policy as expressed in both plans. The subject property is eligible for annexation because it is located within the town's planning area, or the urban growth boundary, and satisfies the continuity requirements of the CRS 3112-104. On August 1st, 2022, Town Council approved Resolution 22044, which determined the annexation petition substantially complies with the CRS Sections 3112-107, and which set public hearing dates to September 19th, 2022, today, to determine eligibility for the town. So in conclusion, staff is recommending that the Town Council approve the Chambers Road north of Belford right-of-way annexation request. Town staff supports the county's request for the town to assume maintenance of a signal that is our requirement per the Chambers High Point annexation agreement, and this annexation provides better continuity control for the town between the plan development and the town. In addition, this project is consistent with the master plan. The proposed annexation request meets continuity requirements as set forth by Colorado revised statutes, and the public notice requirements have been met. This concludes staff's presentation. Myself and Chris Hudson from Public Works are here to answer any questions you may have.
So Chris, acting in the role of applicant, do you have anything to add to this? Or we can just have the council ask both of you questions.
Nothing to add.
Okay, thanks, sir. All right, I'm going to start to my far right. Councilman Rivera, any questions?
No, well, yeah, just real quick. So this is just simply because we if I could, we required a light signal there, and Douglas County said, great, you want to require the light, please take over this intersection. The de facto citizens of Stonegate, whomever they may be, don't have to worry about us coming closer. This is simply to watch make sure we take care of a light, correct?
Correct. Douglas County staff approached us saying, you required this light, you need to take care of it and maintain it. So that's why we're doing this.
Councilmember Pogue?
Yeah, based on your graphic here, I'm trying to figure out exactly which light you're talking about, because I know where the Chambers road lights are, and then the off-road. Is there another one, or which one exactly are you
So
talking about?
the intersection, it doesn't exist today. So it's halfway in between Aventura intersection and E470. It'll be coming in on the west side. There's nothing there. The closest that's there is a driveway access to the well building that's out there.
This is that big Aqua Reservoir,
Yeah,
and then that's their pump house. And then it's between the pump house and 470.
okay. So it's on the south side.
Yeah, it's on the south side of E470.
E470
between-
ramps.
Yeah.
Okay, all
Between
right.
Aventura and E470.
All right, thank you.
Councilman Hendricks?
No questions.
Councilmember Barrington?
No questions.
Councilmember Hefta?
Yes, just out of curiosity, what's the cost of a traffic signal?
Currently, we're looking at just over $500,000 for a traffic signal.
Okay. And then, if there was a safety issue at any traffic signal, is it difficult to upgrade that issue? Is it difficult to upgrade a traffic signal? Or do you have the latest traffic signal, and/or is it difficult to upgrade an existing traffic signal?
So I'm not quite sure what you're asking. I mean, all of our traffic signals are up to date when it comes to electronics and things like that. So I'm not sure what you mean by upgrade a traffic signal.
Or,
So
my saying upgrade, how the walking part, where you walk across the street, is that difficult?
to
the
add
intersection,
a
yeah.
PED signal, a leg, it can be added, yes.
It can
It
be
takes some
added.
equipment. It's money, but it can be done.
Okay, thank you.
The one thing you have to be worried about is where all the turning cars are. So it's not just as simple as add it. You have to be a careful, balanced approach. Everything has to be balanced. So, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, with that, I'll open this up for public comment at 7:24. Anyone from the public wishing to make a comment on either resolution number 22-050 or ordinance number 2.280? The awkward silence. Seeing none, I'm going to go ahead and close public comment and close the hearing at 7:24. Bring it back to the council. We'll start in that same order. Councilman Rivera?
Mr. Mayor, I have one more question, if I could.
Sure.
Chris, Mr. Hudson, sorry. The traffic signal, though, is not 100% a cost on citizens, correct? There's contribution? I know we're in front of you or you're in front of us for an annexation, but
Yeah, the annexations, but the signal's being 100% funded by development.
thank you.
Zero for the town.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments? Councilmember Pogue?
Now, this signal's already in place, right? Did the county require it initially?
It's been a while since I've driven up there, but the signal's not in place today.
Okay,
It will be constructed. Belford, the road is under construction as we speak. You can see it back to the west. I haven't driven it in several weeks, but it's under construction, and I think it's going to be open from Peoria partway down this fall.
okay, thank you.
Councilman Hendricks?
No questions.
Councilman Barrington? So we're at public comment or debate.
Oh. I mean, it's within the eligible annexation boundaries. It aligns with the town's strategic goals as far as being innovative and collaborative with Douglas County and other governments. So I think this all looks good to me.
So, Councilmember Hefta?
I support this project.
All right. With that, I will entertain a motion on resolution number 22-050.
I move to approve resolution number 22-050.
Second.
Motion is made by Councilman Hendricks, seconded by Councilman Rivera.
All right.
Pogue?
Aye.
Hendricks?
Yes.
Barrington?
Yes.
Hefta? And that
Yes.
passes 5-0. Next is, I will entertain a motion on ordinance number 2.280 on second reading.
I move to approve ordinance number 2.280 on second reading.
I'll second.
And motion was made by Councilman Hendricks, second by Councilmember Barrington. Rivera?
Aye.
Pogue?
Aye.
Hendricks?
Yes.
Barrington?
Yes.
Hefta?
Yes.
And that passes 5-0. Next up is our resolution, what we've all been waiting for tonight. Thanks, Carson. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Resolution number 22-051, a resolution to appoint members of the Parker Youth Commission and to appoint a chair and a vice chair.
Good evening, Mayor and Town Council members. I'm pleased to present for your approval Resolution Number 22-051, a resolution to appoint the inaugural members, Chair and Vice Chair, to the Parker Youth Commission. The Parker Youth Commission, created by ordinance in May of this year, provides an opportunity for students to learn more about the government, participate in the process, and represent and articulate the needs of Parker's youth. This commission serves in an advisory capacity to the Town Council. The commission will consist of 9 members. For this first year, 4 members will be appointed to a 1-year term, 5 will be appointed to a 2-year term. The chair will be appointed to a 1-year term, the vice chair to a 2-year term. Candidates completed an extensive application, submitted a letter of recommendation, and were interviewed by the review committee. This committee consisted of Councilmember Barrington, Councilmember Pogue, PD Outreach Coordinator Bree Rock, Recreation Manager Aaron Kuhn, and myself. The review committee recommends the Town Council approve Resolution Number 22-051, which would accomplish the following. Number 1, appoint 9 regular members to the Parker Youth Commission by appointing the following 4 members for a 1-year term ending on August 31st, 2023. First, we have Marco Becerra Collin, who could not be with us this evening. Joey Jung, she also was not able to be here. Chaparral has their homecoming festivities tonight, and she's the student body president. So she's on the float and doing all that fun stuff tonight. We had a kind of a conflict. Braden Parsons. Braden? Iris Pixler. Iris. And by appointing the following 5 members for a 2-year term ending on August 31st, 2024, we have Amara Fantel, Carson Flowers, Nora Reslin, Sarah Gujiel, and Arav Varma. Number 2, appoint Iris Pixler as chair of the Parker Youth Commission for a 1-year term ending on August 31st, 2023. And appoint Amara Fantel as vice chair of the Parker Youth Commission for a 1-year term ending on August 31st, 2023. Upon the completion of that term, the vice chair will assume the role of the chair for a 1-year term ending on August 31st, 2024. Thank you.
Great. So council, we're going to go through our typical pattern here, but if you have questions, and I think you can open up to questions of the new youth commission. You guys would be willing to do that, right? Good. Good. Ask the one who's not nodding their head yes. All right. So I'm going to start with Councilmember Pogue on here, who was on the interview committee.
Well, I don't need to ask him any questions because I already did that. And a lot of them, right? However, this is a stellar group of students that applied for this commission, not just the ones that were selected, all of them. And I was so pleased, I tried to get all of them appointed, and I was told I couldn't do it. But what we're looking for is for these students to help us interface with the teens in the community. What do the teens need? What do they see? What do they feel? What are their opinions? And we feel that this is a representative group. It's not just all the straight A kids. It's not all the student council kids, but it's a representative group. And that's what we felt we needed, and that's what we got. So thank you very much, because we put you through quite an interview process. So thank you.
Awesome. Councilmember Barrington?
Well, I don't have any questions either because I got to grill all of you pretty well too. So I will save I'll save my I'll save it for comments.
Okay. Councilmember Hefta?
Okay, well, I have some questions. I guess the one thing I do want to say is that I wasn't a straight A student, and you don't have to be a straight A student to go to law school. Sometimes you get C's, A's, B's, occasional D, and maybe an F, and you still succeed in life. And just keep trying is what it's all about. And I'm very impressed that all of you stepped up for this, because it's just great to see young people trying to make recommendations to us as town council members to let us know what's going on. So the one question I'll ask of all of you, starting with, is it Iris? Yes. What are you hoping to learn? Give me one thing you're hoping to learn, and I need to hear from all of you. Go down the line from serving on this commission.
We have like 1 minute to think. Like, come on.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
It's always hard for
think-
the first one out. It's
Well,
hard for
I
the
know.
first one, right?
No, I feel like there's really so much that I can gain from this experience, and I'm really honored to be standing here in front of you all. I think the biggest thing I hope to learn is more like leadership skills. I think you all are outstanding leaders for our town, and like so far seeing how the meeting has been run, I'm very inspired, and I think continuing to learn from all of you. And although I just like met all my fellow commission members, I think I'm going to learn a lot from them too. So I think just growing as a leader and growing as a student.
Excellent.
Hi, I think you already know, but my name is Amara, and I'm also very honored to be here. Thank you so much for this opportunity. But I'm very excited to learn how to better represent our community and others, and instead of just being a pillar of myself, it's a pillar of the people around me and supporting them and becoming a better community together.
Hi, I'm Carson Flowers, and again, it's an honor to be here. I really appreciate this opportunity. And one thing that I'm excited to learn from this is I want to better my leadership skills, like Iris said earlier, but I also want to better my critical thinking skills, because not all the problems in our town are right there in front of you. You have to look a little bit deeper and look a little bit harder. And I'm really excited for that, and I'm really excited to be a part of this group. So thank you.
Hi, my name is Ara Varma, and one thing that I'm looking forward to from this opportunity, and once again I'm honored, is how I can be more representative of my peers and learn from them more, since as a teenager, you hardly learn from each other, and it's sometimes, hard, but I feel like with this opportunity, there's more ways that we can be more representative of our community in the youth.
Hi, my name is Sarah. It's an honor to be here today. So I'm excited to learn more about leadership opportunities here and how I can impact the community and how all of our ideas can make change in our community and learn from other peers in our high schools. And thank you.
Hi, I'm Noor. I'm really honored to be here today, and I'm so grateful for this opportunity to be on this council with all my other peers. And one thing I'm looking forward to is really just furthering my leadership and critical thinking skills, as Carson said, and just learning from watching you guys, as I am now, to just better how I can work with a group and further my collaboration skills as well. Thank you.
Hello, Town Council. My name is Braden, and I just want to thank you all for creating this commission. I'm excited to see what my fellow peers are going to do for our community, especially the Parker community. I think for me, the biggest thing that I really look forward to learning from this is how to become a better advocate, learning how to outreach and how to see the problems that I don't face every day, and learning how to advocate for those in front of a government and helping make sure that everybody's voice is represented, and just becoming a better advocate and learning those skills so when I'm older, I can continue that. So thank you.
Thanks. Laura, you done with your questions?
Yes, that was beautiful. Thank you all.
Top that, Councilman Hendricks.
Favorite color? No. What? Just you don't have to go to the microphone. What schools do you represent?
Oh, this is an interesting one.
Legend?
Legend.
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 Lutheran.
It starts with an L. Cool. Thank you.
Councilman Rivero.
No, that's funny. I was going to ask the same thing. Wow. Okay. No, that's it. I don't have any questions.
All right, we're going to go ahead and open this up for public comment at 7:37. Anyone from the public wishing to address this resolution, number 22-051, we welcome you to come forward. All right, seeing none, we'll close the public comment period and bring it back to the council for any comments. We'll start with Councilman Rivero. Anything left?
No, I Braden, I'd echo your comments. This has been a long journey. I know that previous mayor Mike Wade was after this. I was after this. Thankfully, Jeff, we took it to the finish line. There were tons of hiccups. There was legal hiccups on how can kids who live outside the boundaries represent, our town, and how do we get Pondo and Shap and Lutheran to participate? Obviously, we didn't figure that part out yet. There's a couple Shaps, sorry. I don't know where Pondo's at, though. We need to talk to Stroh Ranch and get those kids in here. But I'm glad it finally came to fruition. I'm glad to see it. There's a few faces I know, my neighbors, people I sit on other boards with, Braden. So well done. You guys are the leaders. I truly appreciate the word advocate. I heard you say in the middle there, representative. Those are key words. Those are very, very, very key words. It's not about you individuals. I think you, Amara, referenced that. It's about a pillar for the community. So well done. I look forward to seeing what we can do together, and I'm glad you guys are here.
Councilman Pogue, anything?
Yeah, I just want to say, when I look at commissions, they seem to have a defined focus. You have a defined focus. And I'll tell you what, our teens have never been represented before. So you have a challenge in front of you, so thank you.
Councilman Hendricks?
I just want to say thank you for stepping up and being proactive and being involved with your community. You've done more than some adults I know. So congratulations, and we look forward to seeing in the future with you guys.
Great, thank you. Councilman Barrington.
So I just feel honored that I was able to be part of the process, and I got to meet all of you, and we had great candidates, and we had some tough decisions to make, but you that are standing up there, you should be honored, because you're the cream of the crop, and you're here to represent your fellow high schoolers and teenagers, and I'm just excited to see what you guys are going to do. And each one of you has something very different to bring to the table. So that's what we're excited about. So we're ready for you to get started.
Councilmember Hefta.
I just want to reiterate, you are our future. So this is your opportunity to give us some fantastic input about how we can make Barker a better place for teens. And it's your opportunity to sharpen your skills, your public speaking skills, which is the reason I asked you that question, your critical thinking skills, and your advocacy skills. And you hit upon all those points as a group. So I know you're off to a great start. And I think that each one of you here at this young, tender age is going to make your dreams come true, whatever they are in the future. I would just say the word is perseverance, because everybody fails multiple times. And so you're here and you're succeeding now, and I wish you the best success for your high school and beyond.
Excellent. I just want to echo that and just say thank you. Thank you for committing your time to your community. Obviously you're the leaders. You got through the gauntlet of these two council members, and that's amazing. But rising to the top means you're at the top, and we're looking for you to lead. And we're really, to echo Councilmember Pogue's point, we're really looking for you to be the voice and bring us new ideas. What needs to change? What needs to improve? And what are we doing well? We'll take that too. I also wanted to say to my fellow council members, thank you. Thank you for investing in our youth. And thank you for giving them a voice. You know, we've batted this around, as Councilman Rivero said, for a number of years. And then there was the question of, do they have to live in the town of Parker, or are they people who are influencing the town of Parker? And that's really what this council chose, is to cast that broad net. As long as you're in a Parker area, right, we want to hear what you have to say. So thank you again, and thank you, council, for taking this monumental step. I think it's very cool. It's very cool. And hopefully none of you are almost 18 and have lived in the town for a year and ready to run for election next year. They're all thinking about it now. All right, with that, I'll entertain a motion on resolution number 22-051.
I am thrilled to move to approve resolution number 22-051.
I'll second.
All right. Motion is made by Councilmember Pogue and seconded by Councilmember Barrington. Rivero?
Aye.
Pogue?
Aye.
Hendricks?
Yes.
Barrington?
Yes.
Hefta?
Yes, and
And that
I
passes.
seconded that motion.
And that,
She beat me to it.
I'm sorry. I thought it was the two interviewees. Will you acquiesce to her second?
Yes.
As in- All right. Then we got it right. Excellent. We want to get a picture with you guys before, as our newest commission and the first commission in Parker. So congratulations to you all.
Braden. Hey, Braden. Braden, you better get all of them to Youth Congress. That's your drawer. That's your first job.
We'll flank them.
Let's pull these out of the way so they're not.
All right, so where's the chair and the vice chair? Let's put you guys in the middle. We'll flank you guys there. Josh, you want to go? Because you're all tall. We should get the acting chief down here too. Be like, come on.
Bree's not here.
Yeah. Okay.
Council, I'm going to have you take a couple steps this way.
Me, this way?
All of us.
So all of you, we're good. Sorry. Go 1, 2, 3. Couple more. 1, 2, and 3. No. 1, 2, and 3.
Your battery's saying no way.
It's his birthday.
One more. 1, 2, and 3. All right, thank you.
My eyes were open on that flash.
Of course.
All right, we'll move on to our ordinances from tonight. First up is ordinance number 1.564 on second reading, a bill for an ordinance to approve memoranda of understanding between agencies by and between the town of Parker and various law enforcement agencies concerning license plate recognition, sharing, detection data, and hot lists. Commander Pryor, are you doing this, or?
Sir, yes, sir. Well, actually,
He's only doing that
We're
because
tag teaming a
Jamie's
little.
going to do that.
Okay.
She's going to start.
All right.
But I'll go in with the history afterwards.
All right.
And just very briefly, Mr. Mayor and council members, we are before you tonight to ask for council to approve an ordinance allowing the town to approve memoranda of understanding moving forward to allow the utilization of the license plate recognition system at the police department. There are various law enforcement agencies around the country that are requiring an MOU to be entered into with respect to sharing data between different agencies. The MOUs discuss confidentiality and the use of that data that is received. We have received a number of requests, hundreds of requests at this point from various law enforcement agencies. So we are asking for council to approve the sample memoranda that was attached to the packet that is before you tonight and any memoranda that is submitted to the police department going forward. The standard template has not changed with any that we have received. However, the town attorney's office will review any going forward and determine if they are substantially similar prior to requesting town approval. I will turn it over to Commander Pryor to speak about the specifics of the license plate recognition system.
Great. Thanks, Jamie.
And thank you, Mayor and Council. It's
Just some background on it. Last year and into this year, we purchased some new license plate recognition cameras for the cars. Obviously, the purpose is to try to find stolen cars, to try to find wanted people, try to find missing people, whatever that is on those alerts that pop up. So as part of this package, there's also a segment that is a database that's available for us to search. This database is nationwide. There's thousands of agencies that are a part of this database. If we have, obviously the benefit to the police department is if we have a missing person, if we have a homicide suspect, if we have whatever that might be, we now have the ability to search that database for that license plate if we have a license plate associated, and try to figure out maybe where they've gone or an area to kind of focus our efforts on and things like that. I think that one of the most important pieces of this, and I know it comes up quite a bit, is no personal information is kept in this database. It is just a picture of a license plate, and that's all that's taken. So if we know what the license plate is, we can put that into the search. If for some reason that hits, or if we have one of our cameras hits, Challenger Park Estates was testing out a camera system. So if they have like a car break-in that happens at night and a car goes by and we have a license plate, the only way that we can get the information from that license plate is to go through our normal investigative techniques, which would require us to go through NCIC, CCIC in order to get that information. It doesn't just show up. Same thing with any information we were to get from any other agency, is it's just a picture of a plate, what time it is and the location that picture was taken, and then it's up to us to do anything with that. So hopefully that does. I'm happy to answer any other questions.
Excellent. Jamie, anything else?
Nothing further. Thank
Okay,
you.
let's go to questions. Councilmember Hefta.
So Commander Pryor, this basically speeds up the time. Say let's just have the example of a missing child. Say a missing child was seen abducted at a gas station of some sort. I'm just using this.
Sure.
So you can walk us through it.
Sure.
So how does this work?
So if that scenario would have happened, we've got a license plate on the suspect vehicle, or we've got a partial license plate on the suspect vehicle. We can start doing some research. We would actually start with CCIC first on that, to try to find a match to who a registered owner, what type of car it is, all of that. Once that happens, we can then put that plate in two ways. One is we can search for it, and two is we can actually put an alert on that plate. So any of the other agencies with LPR systems, if they come across that plate, it'll pop up as kidnapping suspect or whatever, so that they know to hopefully contact that car or stop that car. Or if the car landed and maybe they move cars, it just gets us a direction in order to happen faster. If that doesn't happen, we put out a BOLO throughout the state. And depending on how long it's been, maybe nationwide, on that license plate. And we hope that somebody remembers to see it, and maybe we get something that way. So it certainly increases any sort of speed, or gives us an advantage as far as speed and recovery in that, whether that's kidnap victims, whether that's missing people, it could be suicidal people, it could be whatever scenario that is. It gives us a quicker response to that, and the possibility of finding them much quicker, as opposed to just sending out a BOLO to everybody.
And it doesn't unduly invade the privacy of normal citizens. For instance, I'm at that same gas station getting gas, and this incident happens there, but now my license plate, is that being read too?
All license plates from the cameras throughout the United States that they read are stored, but it is just the plate. Again, there is no identifying information on it. There's no registration. There's no address. There's no who's it registered to. There's not even color and make of vehicle. It is literally just a picture of a license plate. So we would have to, through our investigative techniques, we would have to determine that whatever plate it is associated to whatever crime we're investigating. So could your plate be taken a picture of? Yes, along with 1,000 other ones, but ultimately we're looking for one specific one, right? So we would just go, the other ones don't matter. What we're looking for is the one specific one. So,
Thank you for that explanation.
Councilmember Barrington?
So my understanding is it's a system that allows law enforcement in many different jurisdictions to act more quickly and to hopefully resolve a crime a lot faster and more efficiently, because in the past you've really had no way to communicate with each other if everybody is not storing these in their database or in their, it's going to help solve crimes.
Yes.
Bottom line.
Yes, and I'll give you an example. We actually had one, there's been a couple of those MOU, I won't say MOU, so there's been a couple of requests that we've accepted because they haven't had an MOU attached, right? So because there's no MOU attached, we can just accept that. We had a missing person. We actually tracked him to Alabama, ultimately Florida, and he was just fine, but the hit came off of a license plate reader that was down in Alabama. So.
Great. Thank you.
Councilman Hendricks?
No questions.
Councilmember Pogue?
No questions.
Councilman Rivera?
Thank you. I know we approved the contract for this already earlier, and what's in front of us is the ability to communicate with other departments. I do appreciate you going in depth and letting the citizens know that data is not stored and pertaining to any certain citizen, just simply a picture of a random set of numbers and letters.
Yes.
With a state code on top of it and all
Yes.
of that. My only question goes, and you've answered this before, but I'm going to ask it for public edification. Just because your license plate was pictured, and I think Laura was aiming towards this, it does not give the police PC to come search your car. There still is an investigation that needs to happen, correct?
Correct. It does not give us PC to do anything with it. We would still need something that ties that license plate to whatever crime we're investigating.
Excellent.
So just because it takes a picture of a plate and just because a plate shows up on one of our searches doesn't mean that it's associated to anything that we're doing. Again, the example I give is if we're looking for a black Subaru and we've got a white BMW that's pictured, two completely different cars, that's not going to be anywhere near it. So yeah, we have to develop our own probable cause in order to get into searches and searches of cars and all of that stuff through investigation.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Excellent. All right. Any other questions, council? Councilmember Pogue?
Yeah, it just dawned on me that I drive 470 a lot, and there's a lot of cameras on that based on my bills. So are they involved in this process as well?
They are not part of the system. Their system is an independent system that they have just for 470. And we have actually used that. We actually have to get approval, and a lot of times we have to get a court order because it's their their information that they are keeping for themselves. So in order to get that, we've contacted 470 and gotten some of those pictures. So if we want to know at 3 o'clock at Toll Plaza A, I'm looking for a red Ford truck or something, we can follow that. Our shooting that happened at Crown Crest many years ago that was a road rage, we actually used, because they came off 470, we actually used 470 to identify kind of the truck and that because there was a picture of it going through one of their toll plazas.
Thank you.
All right, with that, I'm going to open up the public comment period at 7:55. Anyone from the public wishing to make comment on this ordinance? All right, see it none. We'll bring it back to the council for any final comments and a vote. Councilman Rivera, any?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No, it's a weird balance for me. I have heartburn with issues like this. How do you eat an elephant one bite at a time, and we sacrifice freedoms or privacy in order for safety. We've seen a proliferation of stolen cars, obviously in Colorado. We need to do something. It's a fine line, but I believe that trust comes down to our police department, and I trust our chiefs, and I trust our command staff, and I trust our patrolmen and patrolwomen, to definitely won't abuse the system, can't abuse the system, and it's just another tool in your toolbox to keep our community safe. I'm in favor.
Councilmember Pogue?
I don't have any further questions. Thank you.
Councilman Hendricks?
I view this as a good tool for the police department, and I approve.
Okay. Councilmember Barrington?
I think anytime we can take some of the administravia out of away and give time back to our officers to be doing what they should be doing. And if this can aid in the arrest, I'm all for this. Thanks.
Councilmember Hefta.
I know from law enforcement perspective that there is strict requirements on who accesses what database, how, and when. It's also computerized, it's noted in the system. And this is across the country, just not in Colorado. So I know that with those safeguards in place, that this is something that is helpful for the community, does not unduly invade the privacy of our citizens, and will help catch perpetrators of crime in our community. Thank you.
Great, Council. With that, I'll entertain a motion on ordinance number 1.564 on second reading.
I move to approve ordinance number 1.564 on second reading.
Second.
Motion is made by Councilmember Barrington, seconded by Councilman Rivero.
Aye.
Pogue.
Aye.
Hendricks.
Yes.
Barrington.
Yes.
Hefta.
Yes.
And that passes 5-0. Next up is ordinance number 1.565 on second reading, a bill for an ordinance to approve the working memorandum of understanding by and between the town of Parker and Douglas County Human Services concerning adult protection. You lost your wingman. You going this
Still
alone?
here.
Okay.
If we need to talk about specific cases, I'll rope him back down.
All right.
Mr. Mayor and council members, this is the first of two memorandum of understanding that I am asking for council to approve the ordinance. Colorado state law provides for local law enforcement agencies to partner with their community Department of Human Services in order to engage in investigations for issues such as adult protection. This first memorandum of understanding is to set forth the expectations of both the Town of Parker Police Department and the Department of Human Services with respect to adult protection investigations. These memoranda of understanding generally come before council every 4 years with any necessary updates. This one was delayed approximately a year because of the pandemic we've been experiencing. The current MOU before you is merely an updated version of the standard language that has come before council before. The main changes made is we have requested to remove specific statutory citations to make the statutory citations general in nature, so we don't have to go through every citation in the next 4 years when we review this again. We've removed a couple of exhibits that were no longer relevant, but generally the expectations of both parties to this have remained the same. There is not a lot that has been updated, and it is a great relationship that we can work forward with the Department of Human Services to conduct these investigations. Commander Pryor's team, the investigations division, and our detectives are the ones that handle these investigations generally for the police department. So if there are specific questions related to that, he can answer those.
Okay, excellent. We'll start to my left. Councilmember Barrington, any questions?
No questions, thank you.
Councilmember Hefta?
How long has this MOU been in place?
I am not sure of the first one. The last one that was signed was in 2017, but they do go back considerably for quite some time. And it has been one that, under Colorado law, we are required to enter into to set forth those expectations.
And has it been a very positive working relationship with DHS?
It has been a good relationship. Most recently, DHS has actually provided an individual to be stationed at the police department a few days a week, so the relationship is getting stronger all the time.
For those specific investigations or just as a coordinator?
For those specific investigations, to be there to answer questions, to really engage in that stronger working relationship in the community partnership.
Thank you.
Great. Councilman Hendricks?
No questions.
Councilmember Pogue?
Yes. I know that the police department is listed as mandatory reporters, but I don't know if that regulation applies to this sector of the population, does it?
I believe, and I don't know if Commander Pryor has more information, I believe that any at-risk, but I will have to review the statute specifically, that if there is an at-risk incident brought forward, that generally it is reported to Human Services. I know certainly for child welfare, which is our next MOU, I am not certain about adult protection.
Yeah, I'm not either, but I know the other one is. And so I didn't know if this was to beef that up, in the case that it didn't exist. I'm just not sure how this applies compared to what the one for the children.
If an issue is brought forward to the police department where an at-risk adult Previously, they focused a lot on financial issues. That has changed somewhat, but that is still one of the issues. If they're being harmed, if there's someone who needs that extra care and the police department gets that information, they do notify Human Services with respect to those and work hand in hand with them for those investigations. Human Services may have a different role, but this is just to set forth those expectations and to allow some information sharing to maintain that confidentiality.
So this MOU is a requirement by state law?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Councilman Rivera.
No questions.
All right, with that, we'll open this up for public comment at 8:02. Anyone from the public wishing to make a comment on this ordinance? Seeing none, we'll close it at 8:02, and we'll bring it back to council in reverse order. Councilman Rivera, any thoughts?
No, I just think this is, I mean, obviously it's been successful. It definitely is a tool that we use for the betterment of our county. It goes again to the partnership that we have in Douglas County, interagency, and then even more so just that, to Human Services, to PD, to magistrates, to everybody. It's just the communication that we have, and to find out that we have HS at Parker PD once in a while to help people out when they're in need is fabulous. So well done.
Okay, Councilmember Pogue?
Yeah, I don't have any questions on this particular one.
All right, Councilman Hendricks?
I'm good.
Councilmember Barrington?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay, and Councilmember Hefta? Any thoughts?
Yeah, I think anytime you have the opportunity to provide greater protections for people in our community that may be being mistreated in some way, this will help the law enforcement community accurately investigate those cases and determine whether there has been any mistreatment or not. I know we have some excellent detectives at Parker PD. And so we rely on those detectives to get to the bottom of cases. Sometimes cases are, sometimes people are being mistreated, and sometimes false information is also being provided as well to those detectives. And so we rely on those detectives to figure out what's true and what's false in all of these cases involving mistreatment of adults in our community.
Thank you, Councilmember. With that, I will entertain a motion on ordinance number 1.565 on second reading.
I move to approve ordinance number 1.565 on second reading, please.
I'll second.
Motion is made by Councilman Rivera, seconded by Councilmember Barrington. Rivera?
Aye.
Pogue?
Aye.
Hendricks?
Yes.
Barrington?
Yes.
Hefta?
Aye.
And that passes 5-0. Next up is ordinance number 1.566, a complementary ordinance here on second reading. A bill for an ordinance to approve the working memorandum of understanding by and between the town of Parker and Douglas County Department of Human Services concerning child welfare.
Mr. Mayor and council members, this is indeed the counterpart to the Adult Protection Memorandum of Understanding. I'm asking that you approve the ordinance tonight to accept the MOU between the town of Parker and the Douglas County Department of Human Services with respect to child welfare investigations. Similar to the information provided under adult protection, this is also a statutorily required memorandum of understanding between local law enforcement and the County Department of Human Services. We have updated this MOU with the same information as the prior one. We removed specific statutory sites where we could. We have ensured that the information in there is up to date, and the most recent sites where we located, and we have removed some exhibits that are no longer relevant. Otherwise, this is the same information as the MOU that was signed by the town in 2017. Again, these generally come before council every 4 years, but this one is about a year behind for the same reason. The child welfare MOU sets forth the investigation abilities of both departments that would come to do these investigations, including setting forth information with respect to interviews and different things with respect to dealing with children in these types of investigations.
Excellent. Thanks, Jamie. Councilmember Hefta, questions?
So this has been in place a long time?
Sorry, I didn't turn this on before.
Yes.
Correct,
How long?
it has. I, again, don't know when these first came into place. I know the last one was 2017, but these have been around for quite some time due to the mutual needs between both agencies.
And at DA, just how is this coordinated at the higher levels? Is it the chief of the DHS or their case managers that are in charge of this, and then that is coordinated to the Parker PD on the specific detective. Is that right?
With respect to the actual investigations
Yes.
themselves, and Commander Pryor may have more information with respect to that. I know that it depends whether the police department is in receipt of the criminal information or potential criminal information first, or if DHS gets a report first and turns it over. But depending on what agency receives it, he can speak to the specifics of how those are coordinated.
Just briefly.
Yeah, and it's kind of a two-way street. So if we have a case that happens in the police department where it comes to our desk and it involves a child victim, we reach out to DHS and let them know that, hey, we've got this case that has a child victim. They'll assign a caseworker to be part of that case. On the other side, sometimes it doesn't get reported to us. Sometimes it'll get reported to school counselors or whatever the case is. Because they're mandatory reporters, they report that to DHS. Typically, they don't call the police department. DHS every day sends us DHS referrals. If it's really important and the child could be in danger, they'll call us right away as soon as they get it. Most of the time, it's just sent to us through a portal. Then we can review what's in there and then decide what we need to do with it, along with DHS. So sometimes DHS will clear out the case. They'll just let us know. We may do some follow-up on it just to make sure everything's good. We may look at it with DHS and decide that it's going to be a joint investigation to take care of things. It might be that it's completely not criminal, but certainly DHS needs to be involved because of living conditions or whatever that is. So.
Yeah, and there's a range of outcomes on a lot of these cases. And typically, just so folks know, the typical detective has how many years of experience investigating some of these cases?
Right now, our core detectives sit about 15 to 18 years. And then we've got some newer detectives that are in there that are 3 to 5 years, depending on where that is.
And do you pair those detectives with the newer with the older?
We will, depending on what the case is. If it's an easier case, a lot of times the junior detective can just take that, right? If it's a more serious thing, we've had shaken babies, we've had all kinds of stuff. Those go to our core detectives and the ones that have the experience to work through all of that.
Thank you for your service. Thank you.
Councilmember Barrington.
No questions, thank you.
Councilman Hendricks?
No questions.
Councilmember Pogue?
I don't have a question, I have a comment. As
Okay.
a former
Hold
mandatory
on for
reporter-
comments till, we'll come back around.
Well,
I know.
it's related to what he's doing, so it's up to you.
Okay. Well, let's get him, we'll have him up here till he comes back.
Okay.
No
Councilmember
questions.
Barrington, all right. With that, I'm going to open up public comment at 8:09. Anyone wishing to make public comment on this ordinance? Okay, we'll close it at 8:09. We'll bring it back to the council for comments and back to Councilmember Pogue. Thanks for letting me make a detour real fast.
Yeah, it's all right. I just want to say that from my knowledge for a number of years working with Parker Police Department and Douglas County Human Services, they've done an excellent job. And I think any time that Parker Police Department gets involved in a case, whether it's a dependency neglect or risk of danger to self and others, they have been there and they've done an excellent job in working through the situation that develops. So thank you.
Thank you.
Councilman Rivera?
Thank you. Not much different than the previous ordinance. My only comment is I think that the interesting thing about the MOUs is I believe in government organizations, whether it's fear of litigation or fear of losing a case or whatever it may be, sometimes there's policy lock where you have policies that don't maybe jive and things don't happen because somebody can't do something. I believe when we have MOUs or memorandums that allow for people to talk and allow for people to share information is when we can get past some of that bureaucracy. So I welcome this one as much as I did the last one. Thank you.
Excellent. Councilman Hendricks?
No comments.
Councilmember Barrington?
No comments, thank you.
Okay, Councilmember Hefta?
I think overall, our Parker Police Department, we have some outstanding detectives. They are astute, they are perceptive, they know their trade, and they know to dig deeper on cases that come before them. Not everything as it seems. They take their time. We really have some outstanding detectives, and I had the lovely opportunity to meet some of them at our vehicle vault last year and chat with them. They really do an outstanding job, and they put a lot of training into these detectives for these cases because these are very complex cases. And just because somebody makes an accusation in the community doesn't make it true. And those police officers really dig and get to the bottom of things to get an accurate picture of the motives for people making such complaints. And sadly, we are in a time where people have motives to make complaints about things for their own personal advantage. But I trust our Parker PD to do an outstanding job, because I think we really have some really fantastic detectives and commanders and our own chief as well. Thank you.
Great, thank you. With that, we will entertain a motion on ordinance number 1.566 on second reading.
I move to approve ordinance number 1.566 on second reading.
Second.
Motion is made by Councilmember Pogue, seconded by Councilman Rivero.
Aye.
Pogue.
Aye.
Hendricks.
Yes.
Barrington.
Yes.
Hefta.
Yes.
And that passes 5-0. Our next ordinance is 9301 on second reading, and because it's a metro district, I have a statement to read. The final item on the agenda is an ordinance for town council's consideration of a matter related to the Cherry Creek South Metropolitan District Number 4, which is a residential metropolitan district. On June 15th, 2020, the town council found that a conflict of interest existed for Councilmember Pogue that precludes her from participating in any public hearing that involves a residential metropolitan district. At this time, we'll pause the town council meeting so that Councilmember Pogue may leave the council chambers before council addresses this
Am
ordinance.
I allowed to make a comment?
Councilmember
before I leave?
Pogue.
I can? Okay. So the reason I was declared in conflict of interest is not because I have a financial interest in metro districts or that I live in one of these. My concern is how they're done and the impact they have on the potential buyer. And so I am not in favor of using metro districts to develop residential properties. So thank you.
Great, thank you. So we'll pause for a couple minutes here.
Oh, yeah, I got to get all put together here, sorry. Yeah, thanks. Hang on to it. Okay. See you next time.
See ya.
I'll go this way. Thank you, though.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Cheryl.
Bye-bye.
All right, ordinance number 9.309.1 on second reading, a bill for an ordinance to approve the First Amendment to the amended and restated intergovernmental agreement by and between the town of Parker, Colorado, and Cherry Creek South Metropolitan District Number 4. This says Maloney, but I don't see him in here.
Much better looking.
No, I get no argument.
I don't think Jim would argue either.
Madam Town Attorney.
On June 15, 2020, the town entered into an intergovernmental agreement with Cherry Creek South Metropolitan District Number 4. Exhibit C to the IGA describes certain improvements that the district is responsible for maintaining. The purpose of this amendment is to amend that exhibit to provide that the district is responsible for maintenance of the streetscape, including the tree lawn and median located adjacent to the community park track, as described in the final plat for Tantera filing number 1. And that is the only thing that is being changed in that intergovernmental agreement. So we're seeking approval of this amendment through an ordinance, and Chris Elliott, representing the Cherry Creek South Metropolitan District, is here. If you have any questions, and I think he has a presentation and he wants to give an update on the status of the project as well. Yep.
He's been dodging me behind the podium all night, so I figured he didn't want to talk tonight. So we'll start with questions for the town attorney while Mr. Elliott, you can come on up. Josh?
No questions.
Councilman Hendricks?
No
anything?
questions. No.
Councilman Barrington?
No questions, thank
Councilmember Hefta? Anything for town attorney?
No questions.
Okay. Mr. Elliott, welcome.
Thank you.
How are you, sir?
Very
hey,
good, thank you.
I took a left on Hess onto Chambers. Got a little bumpy at the start, but I'm sure we're going to hear an update on that. So,
Yeah, I'll get you an update on that.
all right.
Again, for the record, Chris Elliott, I think you guys have the secret camera in the ceiling. I'm going to put that there so you can look at that, hopefully. Nice work.
Warming up.
As long as it's not squirrels powering it, right?
used it in a while.
Of course.
It's green light on. That's a good sign.
I think that's a negative.
Squirrels are asleep.
Oh, well.
The squirrels are, yeah.
Having
We had
some
worked on it in the
technical.
chambers last week.
Mr. Mayor, maybe we could take the map and pass it.
Yep.
Yes, what a
Chris Jim?
brilliant idea.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Hey.
That's all we needed.
Okay, we're gonna zoom in there.
All right.
Well, I should say that, I don't know.
All 6 megapixels.
I know.
Look at that. You know, developers that can't talk without their maps.
Maybe if he
You can
moves
stop
his,
whenever you like.
get to the-
Good job, though.
Council, can you all see that on the screens? Okay, all right.
What you see before you is a rendering of the future community park within the community that we call Tantera, which heretofore has been Anthology and a handful of other things, Stroh Hess Ranch and so forth. But, and this will tie in with regard to comments about the progress we're making. There is just a billion different little details that we have to go through when you're talking about a community of the size that we are and the amount of improvements that there are. And you have the best staff in all of the metro area, perhaps the state. I'll stop at galactic, but it's pretty close. This particular issue involves the area essentially within the right-of-way of a roadway, which is adjacent to the park, and the park itself. And the concern is that the Metro District is going to serve the purpose of doing the maintenance within the public right-of-ways. And that will be all of the major public right-of-ways within the community. And then the town will own the community park. So when you get to this particular spot, the park is adjacent to the roadway, but for the fact that the roadway sits within its own right-of-way. So what we wanted to make clear is that the town will be responsible for maintenance, ownership and maintenance of the park itself, but the Metro District will be responsible for the landscape improvements that are within the right-of-way. And the sidewalk within the right-of-way will meander. There will be extensive landscaping. From a user's perspective, it's going to be pretty seamless, but there will be 2 separate irrigation systems. There will be 2 separate mowing crews and those kinds of things. So that's the reason that we've asked you to look at this tonight.
Excellent. All right. Questions for the applicant? Councilmember
no
Rowe?
questions.
Okay, Councilmember Hendricks?
No questions.
Councilmember Barrington?
No, I'll have a comment, but no questions. Thanks.
Okay. Councilmember Hefta?
So the town of Parker is going to be responsible for could you repeat it again?
The town will be responsible for the ownership and maintenance of the park. And I think it's important to note that we build all of it. We build the park and we build the right-of-way, the roadways, and we put in the landscaping in the right-of-way. So the town will take the park once it's completed by us, and it will be the town's responsibility.
And have you clearly communicated to the Metro Districts that they're going to be responsible for the right-of-way?
Yeah, I'm here on behalf of the Metro
Okay,
Districts.
so you've got that clear communication going out to all of them that they're going to be responsible, and this is going to be part of their HOA fees or part of their monies in the Metro District.
Correct.
And do you know how much that splits out for the cost of that? Does it increase it significantly, the money in the Metro District?
I'm not sure exactly what you mean, but let me try and answer it, and you tell me if I do well. We find that the Metro District, through the use of its mill levy and fees associated with that, is a far better vehicle for doing ownership and maintenance of landscape facilities, drainage facilities, those kinds of things, than a homeowners association would. And because the O&M portion of the mill levy that the homeowner pays to the district is tax deductible, then it makes it that much more economical and better for the homeowner to utilize the Metro District for that purpose. The cost to run a mower is the same whether it's done by an HOA or it's done by the Metro District, but you have a more sophisticated contracting scheme with the Metro District. They know how to set things up. They have everything set per their budget, and from a homeowner's perspective, it's completely and totally transparent.
I think you did an excellent job at answering that question.
Oh, good.
Many homeowners may not realize that they're part of a Metro District, and that the Metro District would take care of some of these issues that they're already paying into from the mill levy.
Right.
They may not even realize that, and that the homeowner's fee is going to basic maintenance of the said community, such as cutting the grass and more simplistic matters, maybe taking care of the volleyball court. But the Metro District is really taking care of these much more costly issues that the homeowner's paying for. So thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Councilmember Barrington?
I'm sorry. I was just going to add that we make sure that we disclose everything about how the district functions, how it collects its revenue, and how it spends its revenue to the homeowner up front.
Councilmember Barrington?
Sorry, just to go back to me for a minute. So I thought of something. I've been recently accused, I think we've all been recently, or not even recently, we get accused of rubber stamping anything that comes across that comes to us. I know you said thank you, we've got a great staff. In your opinion, how is it harder to work with the town of Parker than other municipalities just because we have more strict guidelines?
I don't know that it's harder. I think it's that there are requirements and considerations that have been well thought out, and you expect a certain standard as a community, and from a developer's perspective, we have an obligation to meet that particular standard. So I think through the staff, you're extraordinarily fair in the terms of the process that you put us through, and it's very well thought out. I mean, who thinks about this kind of thing, other than Dr. Maloney, perhaps? But it is a very thorough effort that we must go through in order to get new communities approved here.
So you wouldn't say it's easy?
Oh, heck no.
Okay, secondly, if a homeowner isn't satisfied with how the landscaping is being maintained within the Metro District, is there a remedy for them? Is it like an architectural control? Who would they go to if they had some concerns with what's going on with how the landscaping is being maintained?
They would go to the Metro District Board, and the Metro District Board meets on a regular basis, published agendas and published issues. I mean, it's a government exactly the same as you. It has the public comment right up front in a Metro District Board meeting. It gives a citizen the opportunity to speak. So they raise those issues at that particular point. And like you, it's something that conscientious board members take into consideration.
All right. Thank you.
All right, Councilor. So, Mr. Elliott, I just have a question. I kind of teased you at first, but can you give us an update on the Chambers Road? It's loosely related to this, but same area.
Oh, it's directly related.
Glad you see it that way.
No, thank you.
How are we
Thank
doing
you
on
for that. We have been working hard for quite some time with staff. I was thinking as I was preparing that we had one meeting here next door where we had not less than 12 attorneys sitting in a room, and I think I was paying for 8 of them.
Wow.
So we've had a significant amount of complexity attached to taking a project of this size and getting it out of the ground. I think it's always an optimist's perception that things will go quickly and that we won't have issues, that we can resolve them, we can get things started. And I'd be that optimist in front of you. But again, your staff has been willing at every turn to roll up their sleeves and say, okay, none of us contemplated this particular issue. How do we deal with it? And again, much like this particular one, it was something that we're all together there, sitting there thinking about, okay, well, wow, we got these 2 separate ownerships. Who's going to be responsible for ownership and maintenance of the improvements that are within it? And we were able to come to a quick conclusion. Now, it necessitated an opportunity to come and visit you all, which I love, but it takes that kind of time. We got to publish for it. You had a first reading, and now you have a second reading, and so we've had to deal with those kinds of issues as we've moved along. Changes in the market have been something that we've had to overcome as well, and the efforts in Washington in terms of interest rates and the supply chain issues and those kinds of things have had an impact on our ability to, again, get out of the ground with the project. But we're seeing the end of the tunnel, and it's not the train coming at us, so we're excited to get this done, and would hope, that's a long-winded answer to your question, but we would hope that before the end of the year, you'll see some dirt moving, and we'll try to buy some gold shovels and give one to each of you and go out there and move some dirt.
Does that mean you're putting us to work?
Kind of.
Okay, all right. I'll take that. All right. So you're still breaking ground into this year?
That's the absolute hope.
Okay. All right. Is that optimistic or realistic?
I think it's mostly realistic.
Okay. Excellent. All right. With that, I'm going to open up for public comment at 8:29. Anyone wishing to make public comment on this matter? You passing or are you coming down?
I'm going to pass.
Okay. All right. Great. Then we'll close public comment at 8:29. We'll bring it back to council. Councilman Rivera?
Thank you. I know that I appreciate, obviously, staff's work, Dr. Maloney, I like that, Dr. Maloney's work. Unfortunately, sometimes it's trial by error, and there's been a lot of communities that wish we were this thorough on delineation of whose responsibility is. I can think of one community in the southeast of the town that is going through right now who's responsible for the adjacent right-of-way and who's responsible for the landscaping here, and we're trying to establish that as we speak. So I do appreciate it, and I appreciate that we learned a lesson. Secondly, for those in the room, it's hard up here to explain what we are sometimes. There are times that we are policymakers, that we are legislators, that we sit up here and we make policy, we make ordinance, we make laws that govern you or maybe take away or restrict some of your rights, but whatever those are, that's a legislative act. Then there are times that we should be wearing black robes and white wigs and we are judges. And those times are, in my opinion, very, very important. And when it comes to issues with land, those are usually judicial hearings, quasi-judicial, but judicial just the same. And when those happen, the Constitution states in the 5th and the 14th Amendment that everybody that presents themselves in front of this board has the right to due process. And due process says that I will not, as a judge, prejudge a situation, that I will have an open mind, hear the evidence, and weigh my decision on the law that is placed in front of me. When a council member decides that they do not want to do this, that they are not in favor of A, B, or C, they have prejudged that situation, and that council member then risks litigation on behalf of this town. And we, as a council, have to take action and conflict that council member. It has nothing to do with financial situations. It has nothing to do with anything else other than everybody that comes in front of this council in a quasi-judicial realm has the right to due process. That's guaranteed in our Constitution. That's why she's conflicted.
Councilman Hendricks?
I'm good.
All right, Councilmember Barrington?
No, I think I'm good, thank you.
Great, Councilmember Hefta?
I'm not going to get out my gold shovel because you're going to have to pay me because I got a bad back from the Army. But so I'm going to pass on that. But I just want to, state that we have to reduce these things to writing. We have to pay attention to the fine print and delineate out these responsibilities, as Councilmember Rivero said. Because if we don't, we do wind up in litigation down the road. And so putting things in writing, hashing out an agreement, negotiating with one another, sometimes you have to leave and come back to the table. I know our Department of Public Works does an excellent job of negotiating. They are engineers, most of them have master's degrees, and they come back to the table and they keep negotiating for what the town council may have directed on a particular action. And they keep the lines of communication open, even though there may be differing opinions on the table, to get the result for the town. And we have to take those actions as town council members. And we are a group of very thoughtful people up here. Councilmember Rivero eloquently stated the due process clause in the Constitution. And we want to give everyone a chance to present their case, to hear the facts and evidence, and then come to a decision on that facts and evidence. So thank you this evening for your presentation on this matter, sir.
Great. With that, I will entertain a motion on ordinance number 9.309.1 on second reading.
I move to approve ordinance number 9.309.1 on second reading.
Second.
Motion is made by Councilman Hendricks, seconded by Councilman Rivero.
Aye.
Hendricks?
Yes.
Barrington?
Yes.
Hefta?
Yes.
And that passes 4-0. With no other business before the Parker Town Council, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
And that was Ann, second? Laura. Second. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned at 8:34.